The United States Navy is celebrating a big birthday on Monday, turning 250 years old. Certainly reason to celebrate. And there are some big parties happening across the U.S., but particularly in Philadelphia, where both the Navy and the Marine Corps were founded. But we're learning more about the history and the significance of this day. We've got Captain Paul Ryan of the U.S. Navy Reserve with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about the history a little bit. 250 years, give us a little bit of a lesson today and what we're celebrating.
Yeah, we'll take you back to the Revolutionary War. In October 1775, the Revolution was 6 months old, and the Continental Congress realized that they needed to do something to try and prevent supplies from coming in for the British Army that was in North America. So October 13th, 1775, the Continental Congress authorized the establishment of the outfitting of a pair, just two, sailing vessels to help interdict supplies. During the Revolution, upwards of 50 different vessels were armed and outfitted. There were only 20 at any one time. These were not built from the keel up as warships.
Sure.
They were merchant vessels that had cannons put on them, and sailors were trained on how to use them.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So that's what it looked like then. You know, you served 50 years, so you were a part of the 200th anniversary. Let's talk more about modern day Navy and all of the things that you all have done for us.
Yeah, the modern Navy and the strategy behind it actually started with the writings of a Navy admiral named Albert Thayer Mahan.
Okay.
Late 19th century. He wrote a book that talked about the importance of protecting trade routes and global projection of power. That was theory then, and then it started to go into practice in World War I when the U.S. entered World War I. A lot of traffic back and forth in the Atlantic, and not only transporting troops and supplies, but also fighting the German submarines, the U-boats that were prowling the Atlantic during World War I. That really came into effect in a much broader, larger sense at World War II, during World War II, and afterwards.
Absolutely.
Even today, we, the Navy, protect freedom of navigation. You see that especially in the South China Sea today. You see it in the Red Sea and off the east coast of Africa.
Sure. Let's talk about your service as well. What are you most proud
of? Well, I was commissioned in 1975, 2 weeks after the Vietnam War ended, so I'm not a Vietnam veteran.
Okay.
5 years on active duty, and then 25 years in the Navy Reserve. I served on a destroyer, which are known colloquially as tin cans, known as a tin can sailor, because they are pretty small ships. They can bounce around a little bit.
I was going to say they're not
seas.
as comfortable as maybe the aircraft carriers that
There's a thing called sea legs when the ship rolls back and forth, and you have to be able to stay on your feet without holding on to the bulkheads, walking down a deck or a passageway or something.
Wow. Pretty crazy stuff. So what do you hope people think about and honor as the Navy turns 250?
I would think, Michelle, the best way to honor the Navy's birthday is to honor the people who have served or are serving in it. There's a couple of ways to do that. One is to learn a little bit about the Navy's history and its heroes. There's a lot of stuff online.
Sure.
The Navy has its own History and Heritage Command website that people can go to.
Okay.
But even more important than that, in my opinion, is to find ways to assist Navy veterans and their family members who are most in need. And the organization that I'm here today to officially represent is Armed Forces Thanksgiving, in partnership with the West Michigan Veterans Coalition, does exactly that. We find ways to provide general financial assistance, combat food insecurity. We provide scholarships, employment services, transportation.
Okay.
People should find out a little bit more about what those organizations do, and there are ways that the general public can directly support those efforts.
Well, let's talk about those ways. I mean, obviously, giving money would be one, but are there other ways people can help?
Yeah, there are. If you represent an organization, if you're an employee of a company, for example, does that company hire veterans? Do they have what we call employee resource groups for veterans? Are there pro bono things that could be done? We had an example of a Michigan Army National Guard unit some years back that was deployed to Syria. And they needed about 30 or 40 American flags to put on their vehicles. The technical term of art is called battlefield deconfliction. To put the flag on your Jeep so they don't shoot at each other.
Right? Yeah.
The friendlies don't shoot at us. And so someone would provide those. Okay. So there are, a venue, providing a venue for a meeting of the organizations that all support Armed Forces Thanksgiving and Coalition. We meet every other month.
Okay.
And bring in any kind of organization, nonprofit, public sector, academia that is interested in providing any kind of education or services to veterans and families.
Wow, lots of different ways.
Yeah.
All right, so what do people need to do if they want to learn more, if they want to get involved?
I would suggest that they visit the Armed Forces Thanksgiving website,
okay.
armedforcesthx.org, and that would be spelled in the military, Armed Forces Tango Hotel X-ray .org, or the West Michigan Veterans Coalition website, westmichiganveterans.org.
Wonderful. Well, Captain, thank you so much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate it. And happy 250th birthday to the U.S. Navy. That is happening again on Monday. And there's that website if you want to do something to give back to help, armedforcesthx.org.